Welcome to the Radiate Wellness Podcast. I'm your host, Christi Clemons Hoffman. Each week we will discuss tools, tips, and ways to radiate your best life ever, interviewing practitioners, authors, and luminaries to help you on your path. Wellness, joy, peace, abundance. What do you want to radiate? Has anybody been to a gallery reading before? Okay, a lot of people have, so a couple have. So a gallery reading is exactly that. This is a group reading. Now, Archangels and Ascended Masters, that's who we're here to talk about tonight. So each one of us has a guardian angel, of course, sometimes more than one. We all have an archangel as well, sometimes more than one. And these archangels and our guardian angels are with us from birth to death. And we can also call in any others that we want to work with. And let's see, the archangels, they are not the highest spiritual beings, nor are they the lowest. They're somewhere in the middle. The archangels have to do very much with human concerns. So some of the other angelic realms have to do with universal, earthly type matters, more global type of things. But archangels are all about the human world and our human existence. But they've never been human, with the exception of two. So depending on who you ask, there are about 15 to 17 archangels. And some of them are folks you would know, like Michael, Raphael, Gabriel. Let's see, those are probably the most common ones. But there's also Jeremiah, Haniel, there is Raguel, there's Uriel, there are many, many. There's also two archangels that have kind of funny names, Metatron and Sandalphon. Now they have funny names because those are the only archangels who have ever been human. So Archangel Metatron was Enoch in the Bible, and I know some of us know about the book of Enoch. Enoch was a scribe in the service of the Pharaoh. He kept such meticulous records that God didn't know what else to do with him when he passed over. So he said, well, you've lived a perfect life. Let's make you an archangel. So Archangel Haniel took him up to heaven and gave him this funny archangel name. And then there is Archangel Sandalphon, who is Metatron's brother. And Archangel Sandalphon was the prophet Elijah in the Bible. And same story, he lived such an exemplary life that he was elevated to archangel status when he crossed over. So he became Sandalphon. Each one of the archangels has their own job that they do. And some of them we know, like Raphael is the healer. Right? Michael is kind of the go-to for everything because Michael is the head of the archangels. And if you don't know who to ask for, you don't know who to talk to, Michael will be on it. And he literally, every time he shows up for me, he's got his sword and he goes, I'm on it. And he really is. So Archangel Michael has fixed my car. He's fixed my plumbing. He's got me out of tickets. And he's just kind of an kind of an all-around, whatever you need, handyman type. But if you don't know who to ask for, just ask for Michael. And then there's like Haniel, who oversees the moon cycles and oversees grace and pulling people into our lives that we resonate with. There's Jophiel, who is beauty. So they all have their jobs that they do. They all have colors that they resonate with as well. Michael is blue. Jophiel is yellow, Raphael is green, etc., etc. Because colors have a very important place in the metaphysical world, and they have their own vibrations and frequencies as well, and the archangels resonate with them. So any questions so far about archangels? No? Okay. And then we have the Ascended Masters. So the Ascended Masters, we've all heard of many of them. Jesus and Kuan Yin, Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, Buddha, but also Apollo and Neptune, Diana. So the Ascended Masters they're not angels. And many of them have been human, but many have not. For example, Yogananda was human and now is an Ascended Master. Babaji, Serapis Bey, these have been human before. Saint Germain, who's not really a saint, but he's an Ascended Master. So the Ascended Masters are beings who are in service to humans. They've raised in status to where they can help everybody, right? So they're not tied to particular humans. But we can call them in if we want to. Anybody we want to work with, we can. We just have to ask. And again, they all have their own things that they do. Yogananda is peace. Serapis Bey is kicking our butts. He helps us get on regimes and do healthy things for our bodies. Yogananda is also about just like stretching ourselves, our bodies, and our minds. So the Ascended Masters also have their jobs that they do. But again, we can call on anybody we want to, just because they're not necessarily assigned to us from birth to death. If there's somebody that you want to work with in particular, or you just need help with something and you know that that particular Ascended Master or Archangel does that, you can certainly ask for their help. And it's just as easy as saying, hey, Vesta, I need some help pulling things together for dinner tonight. And it's just, we can just talk to them, right? We can do invocations to them if we want to. We can set things out for them, little gifts and things. We can light candles to them, whatever feels right. Now, I have a book that I usually bring with me to these type of events, but for some reason I couldn't find it today. That's okay. It's Doreen Virtue, Archangels and Ascended Masters. And literally this is the Bible on Archangels and Ascended Masters. The book outlines there's a chapter on each one of these beings, tells you who they are, what they do, what their origin is, what their backstory is, how to invoke them. But unfortunately, the book is out of print because Doreen Virtue, many of you have heard of her, she had kind of a rebirth. She went through this Christian awakening, I should say. She was always Christian, but now she's just become much more devout and has renounced all of the work she did with archangels, with Ascended Masters. And that's her choice, that's her journey, and that's fine. So you can still find the book occasionally, like on Amazon. Existing copies will be for sale, but if you can find one, I highly recommend it. And then I also can recommend Doreen Virtue's cards. So this is Ascended Masters deck, and then actually, this is Angel Therapy. Shoot. I've also got an Archangel deck. That's okay. So she has Archangels, Ascended Masters. She's got lots of decks, in fact. So these decks they're oracle cards. They're very helpful. I don't do tarot myself. Anybody does tarot here? Right, couple. Right? Sort of, right? I mean, tarot is great. We can get a lot of information out of tarot, but I just don't do it. But oracle cards are wonderful because they will come up with a being and a message, and then I use my own intuition and turn that on and kind of read between the lines and see what additional messages come. So just a few words about what I do. I've been intuitive all my life. There is a story that when I was a baby, my dad was in college, and he put himself through college by doing all kinds of odd jobs, one of which was he was a night watchman at Southeast High School in Kansas City, Missouri. It's one of these big 3-story, like 1920s, huge high schools, and he was a night watchman. So he'd bring me along, set up my playpen, give me some toys, and he'd sit down and study while I usually slept. My mom she was an x-ray technician at a hospital, so she worked nights anyway. So sometimes I'd go with my dad to work. So we're sitting in this huge empty high school. My dad's studying, I'm in my playpen, and he says, I stood up and I started waving and I said, "Hi, Mr. Man." He said he quit the next day. My dad is fascinated by this stuff, and it freaks him out. And then I saw another ghost that I vividly recall when I was about 9 at my cousin's house, and that house was notoriously haunted. My cousins, of course, they knew it, but they didn't really talk about it because they were really religious and didn't really believe that stuff. But I mean, I've seen these things, I've known these things, I felt these things all my life. It was just kind of a natural thing. But growing up in Overland Park, Kansas, if any of you know that very suburban part of Kansas City, I quickly learned that that's not something you talk about. You don't talk about what you're seeing and these weird things that you're believing. So that's okay. I went underground. But all my life, I've been intuitive in the sense of I just knew things. And my parents would even ask me some questions, and I'd be like, why are you asking me? I'm just a kid. And they said, well, but you seem to know this stuff. And so, yeah, I did. I could tell who could be trusted, who could not be trusted, who was going to stay together, who was not going to stay together, who was going to stay where they were, and who was going to move on. And I just kind of knew these things, didn't know why or didn't know where it came from, and that's okay. Didn't know what to do with it either. And then as an adult, after years and years of seeking and looking and just exploring all the things that I could get my hands on, found some teachers, some really great teachers. So if any of you find that you feel like you're intuitive and would like to develop that, you can develop it. Find a teacher. I do teach people myself to open up and communicate with those who have crossed on, or angels and archangels and ascended masters as well. So find a teacher, because we can all develop this gift. We are all born intuitive, and we all can develop it. Now, we can choose to use it, or we can choose to turn it off, right? So just bear in mind that when a child is born and is intuitive and is open, they can learn to shut it down, but that energy has to go somewhere. Often it will go to insomnia, anxiety, depression, and just kind of this feeling of general unease. So not to scare anybody, but just know that this is a very normal thing, that we're all born intuitive, and then we can choose what we do with that. All right. So in a setting like this, well, in any setting, when I'm sitting with a client and working this way, the information can come in one of four ways, and you may recognize some of these in yourself. There are 4 clairs. So the first is clairvoyant. We all know what that means. It's like seeing things, but it's not really seeing like we see with our eyes. It really isn't. Has anybody gone to like a Chiefs game or a big event and you had to find your car after? Right? Yeah, a lot of us have had that experience. And so what you're doing is you're trying to match up visual cues to what your memory is in your mind. So you're looking around going, let's see, I know it was 4G. Where is that G? I know it was blue. Where is blue? It was next to a Bronco. Where's the Bronco? And you're pulling up these memories in your mind, these images that are in there, and you're matching them to what you see with your physical eyes. So the way that clairvoyants typically see things is that we see them in our mind. So it's not, occasionally, yeah, I'll see somebody. And there's been I don't know if anybody's noticed this, but there's been a real tall man wandering around here. He says he's a lawyer. He seems to be connected with this place. So don't freak out if you see that. But anyway, sometimes you see things with your physical eyes, but usually it's just in the mind. And also symbols. So symbols will come up, or colors. And these also mean things. But the problem is I have to figure out what it means. So for example, I had a client and his grandmother kept coming through, and I was getting a lot of information from the grandmother, and I said, I feel like she's trying to tell me her name, but I'm just not getting it. I said, all I'm seeing are these little oranges. Does that mean anything to you? And the client said, well, no, but we were in Florida last week and bought some Satsuma oranges, and we didn't like them very much. I said, well, maybe your grandmother's just wanting to say that she was with you, she recognizes, and wants you to know that there's a symbol that only you would know. So I said, I don't know, but I'm really just trying to cue in on her name. What was her name? He says, Clementine. Right. So I get these messages and symbols, and I got to figure out what the F it means. And so, I might see something for somebody. It's like tree. Okay, so how do you connect with the tree? All right, well, pine tree. How do you connect with that? So that may come up tonight. So anyway, we see things, but maybe not like we see things. Does that make sense? Sometimes I say I see/feel, or I see/know. Which brings me to my second clair, which is claircognizant, which is where you just have an idea that plops into your brain. You don't know where it came from. Sometimes it's fully cooked with phrases and sentences and verbs and nouns and things like that. And then sometimes it's just the concept of an idea. It's just like, I know this thing. I need to find a way to put it into words. And then we find a way to put it into words. Okay, so that's claircognizance. But again, it's like I know/see it, I know/feel it, I don't know. So then we have clairaudience, is where we hear. And sometimes we do actually hear a voice. telling you something, which is really cool, or you hear your name. Has anybody had that? Yeah. Oh, this is going to be fun. Awesome. Great. A lot of people. All right. So that's clairaudience. Sometimes we hear a name. Sometimes we hear music. Like sometimes we hear maybe something that triggers something in us, or we just hear like angelic type of music. That's cool too. But just know that even when you turn on the radio and there's a song that all of a sudden the lyric pops out and you feel like it's a message to you, this is clairaudience as well. And many of us receive in that way. So that's clairaudience. And then there's we did clairvoyance, claircognizance, clairaudience. Oh, then there's clairsentience, which is everything else. So which is, we might feel butterflies in our stomach. We might feel just kind of like a knowledge in your stomach. Anybody know what I mean by that? You just kind of, it's like, oh, I got this gut feeling, right? That's probably a better way to say it. You get a gut feeling. You might get goosebumps, right? This is clairsentience. So anything that's not seeing, hearing, or knowing, sometimes it'll be a scent. My grandmother, my Grandma Ruth, you guys know her. I've got cousins here tonight. So my Grandma Ruth always comes as lilacs. And some people, they come as cigar smoke or cigarette smoke or other scents that we might associate with someone. Mother Mary is always roses. Okay, and many archangels are flower scents, but so clairsentience is anything that is not seeing, hearing, or knowing. We can also just kind of feel somebody tapping us or touching us. We could feel a breeze coming through. So there's many different ways to receive. So those are just the common ways to receive. And if you feel like you are receiving intuitive information in your daily life, I would encourage you, pay attention. Because that's the way our guides work with us. Our angels, our archangels, our ascended masters, our loved ones even work with us in that way, is sending this information through the senses that they can communicate with and that they can use. They also will line things up so that you reach for the radio dial at the right moment where you turn on the radio and you hear a message for you. Or that you go to a restaurant and you say, I wish Mom was here, and then you hear her favorite song. So I got huge goosebumps on that. So there are many ways that we can be communicated with, all right? And so the way that I usually communicate with these angels and ascended masters during a session like this is usually cognizance, also voyance, and sometimes audience. So a variety of different ways. And then sometimes people will say, ooh, I just got goosebumps with that. So you're receiving as well. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Anybody have any questions so far? All right, fantastic. So another way that this is going to work tonight, sometimes whoever wants to come through will make themselves known, and then I go and look for who it's for. So that can happen. Otherwise, somebody will just light up, and it's not light up. It's kind of like, have you ever seen a movie or a TV show where they'll focus on a character and then something happens and all of a sudden they zoom in on that character and everybody else goes in the background? It's like that. So all of a sudden one person is like, whoom. And then I ask, well, okay, who's around and who wants to deliver something? All right, so not everybody will get a message, or maybe everybody will. I don't know. I have no idea what's going to happen. But it's not necessary for everybody to receive something, because you'll learn just from receiving the type of messages that others do as well. Does that make sense? It's like we always are going to learn something, some greater spiritual truth, and it can be some of the truths that we learn in an event like this are very universal. So even if you don't receive a message, that's okay. I think you'll still learn something. All right, any questions? All right. All right, so now I'm just going to get connected. The light of God surrounds me, the love of God. If you want to do this too, you can just close your eyes and just focus on the heart center. The light of God surrounds me, the love of God enfolds me, the power of God protects me, the presence of God watches over me. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. Okay, I'm going to run through a few things in my mind, and I'll let you know when we're ready. All right. Okay, right there, right in the middle. Okay, yes, pink shirt, glasses. All right. They want you to know that there is a course of study that's coming up for you. You're supposed to learn as much as you possibly can. And like, don't give up. Even if you feel like you're losing interest at some point, just keep going. This is coming from Mary Magdalene. And I should say, on the way here, Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene came forward. And goosebumps?
Well, I just, like, today signed up for a course.
Yes! Happy dance! See how this works?
Yeah. Like, my heart started racing really fast. My arms started...
Yeah. Okay. That's how this works. You have, something happens in your life, you have an idea you want to do something, maybe even sign up for it. And then this crazy angel lady confirms that you're on the right path and you're supposed to be doing that.
Yeah, because I toyed with it for like 2 weeks.
Oh.
And then I'm like, you know what, it's just money, you know? I can always make more, I'll find a way. And then I'm like, I'm just going to do it. And then my boyfriend was like, what the heck?
Do it. You will not regret it. And this is not the last learning that you're going to be doing, but just whatever the next thing that feels like it's right to do it after this. This is not the end of the line. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
Right. Okay. So it doesn't feel like it's the first step. It's not like you're taking level 1 and then you go to level 2 and level 3. This feels more like there's this thing and then this is related and this is going to set you up so that you can learn this other thing. And
That's what it's been though.
Yeah.
I just got my Reiki 1 and then somebody said something and it triggered a thought and then I went on Facebook and the Facebook app was there and I'm like, okay. That's a sign, and then I saw the money amount, and I'm like, no. And then I just couldn't let it go, and today was the day.
That's great. That is great. And again, this is how our guides work with us. So you'll get maybe a nudge. Maybe it'll be that somebody says, hey, have you ever thought about taking Reiki? It's like, what is that? That sounds interesting. And then, the second time, then somebody, maybe you'll see it on Facebook and you go, I was just thinking about that. Somebody just told me. And then a third time, somebody else would be mentioning it. So if it happened, yeah, exactly.
Like that.
So I always say if it's once, it's a fluke. Although it's not, there are no flukes, right? Twice, it's a coincidence, although there's really no coincidences. Third time, do it.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So when I took my medical intuition training, I toyed with it for a very, very long time. And I sat there. It's like, submit, no. Submit, no. And then my daughter said, what are you doing? I said, I'm thinking of taking this class. She goes, well, what is it? I told her. She says, Mom, you got to do it. I said, but it's so much money. Mom, do it. I said, but it's going to take me away from you because she's little. And she said, do it. And she says, come on, you've got. So anyway, I did sign up. But you see how these things work is that you keep getting the nudges. You keep getting the nudges and then you act on it. All right. So it's specifically Reiki that you signed up for today?
No, it's actually hypnotherapy.
QHHT? No, apparently.
QHHT.
No, quantum healing hypnosis technique?
Mm-mm. No, okay. It was going to be, it's the William Mitchell program, and it's all that, the national field of hypnotherapy, but I actually want to do it for substance abuse and grief and maybe some NLP practitioner.
Yeah, do it.
I don't know, I just lost my dad, so I'm
so sorry.
I wanted to kind of like pay homage to him, and he struggled with substance abuse all of his life. So.
Okay, that makes sense. I see him with a pipe. So, okay, he's standing behind you, he's got a pipe, and he's like, yeah, do it. So with this training, you're gonna eventually lead to where you're actually putting hands on people. So, through some sort of maybe Reiki, maybe access consciousness, maybe something that's associated with one of those type of healing modalities. There's one of the hypnosis forms that I do. We actually, I'll put my hand on an attachment and take it up to the client's mind. So something like that too. So I just see you working with people where you're putting your hands on them. So absolutely do the hypnosis. It's a wonderful thing. Just look to see what your natural next steps are going to be. if you feel like you're flagging for whatever reason, just keep going, keep going, keep going. This is a really good thing for you.
I already got the rapid induction certification, and now I'm doing like the national field certification. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, keep doing it.
I will.
Now, Mary Magdalene, she's great. She comes to me a lot. Sometimes I give her my voice so she can use my voice box hole, and she's all about personal growth and development, and you learn as much as you can and get up to speed because you're going to need it, okay? All right. Who's horses? Horses show up a lot. Okay. Oh, I know you. We did a reading at the Mystic Fair. Yeah. You've got this Ascended Master coming up, Una. Is Oonagh, and I don't usually associate her with horses, but she's saying that she's that, and so that's cool. Do it. I think it was your husband was going to be getting into horses and stuff, right? So and it's so funny. Almost always in this group setting, somebody's got horses with them, but we're in the Midwest, so I guess I'm not that surprised. But yeah, do it. She's saying that he needs to do some kind of purification stuff himself. She's talking about like detox even. Now it doesn't sound like, it's not like the detox that you would think of. It's like coming off of having to have a regular job. Like detoxing from having to have a regular 9-to-5 type of thing, that he's needing to he's needing to spend some time with himself and spend some time by himself to kind of shake those cobwebs off of him. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Okay. Right. Like this. Okay. Big thumbs up. All right. We've got this gentleman up here. We've only got 2 gentlemen tonight. That's so cool. All right. So Archangel Metatron wants you to know that all of the sensitive feelings that you feel, all of the sensitivities that you have to like foods and products and even scents and odors and anything like harsh chemicals and stuff, wants you to realize that it's okay to have those. If he's saying something like you feel like you need to make excuses for being too sensitive to stuff. And he's like, no, that's who you are. Honor that, that you're not making it up. You really are sensitive to this kind of thing. And that he wants you to understand that you don't have to be like everybody else. Okay? Your brain works differently. And that's okay. Does that make sense?
I was just having a conversation with my sister before we came in here about excuses.
Of course you were, right? So, yeah, don't make excuses for how you think. And, as long as you're not wanting to hurt anybody. I don't have the impression that that's what's going on. But just the way that your mind works is not like the way everybody else's mind works. And that's fine. In fact, find a way to celebrate that. Find a way to live life so that that works for you to your best advantage, right? You may have to refine the way that you work. You may have to maybe work from home or work online or something like that. But just know that that's okay. Okay? Archangel Metatron was, like I said, was the scribe Enoch from the Bible. He kept excellent records. And now that he's an archangel, he oversees sacred geometry. Have you heard of Metatron's cube? It's this.
I've heard of it. I don't know enough about it to make a comment.
Sure, absolutely. But sacred geometry is really the building blocks of everything we see around us and everything we experience. The Fibonacci code and the Fibonacci spiral and everything, that's part of sacred geometry. Your sister can show you some stuff. So Metatron's cube is it's a very sacred and holy type of shape that helps us ramp up our vibration. Sometimes it's used as a Merkaba for transport. I'm sorry, sometimes I get really woo-woo, and just bear with me. Some of the stuff is woo-woo, but trust me, it all works. So anyway, sacred geometry is basically the building blocks and the order of the universe, and Archangel Metatron works with that stuff, and he helps apply it specifically to kids, but we're all kids, right? We're all kids at heart. So kids who have stuff like ADD and ADHD, honestly, it's really just BOY, and this kind of disordered thinking that we think sometimes these kids have, but it's just a different way of thinking. So Archangel Metatron has a very soft spot in his heart for people who think differently like that. He wants to help us find an order to it. And he wants to help kids specifically not be medicated, because we sometimes just rush to medication too quickly. If it helps, it helps. But most of the time we need to make a change in diet. And again, being very sensitive, you might find that you're naturally making changes in diet. But I would recommend maybe going to foods and products that are more natural, more organic, with no artificial colors or preservatives. Even in shampoos and soaps and things like that, it could be kind of harsh for you and your sensitivities. Okay. Honor your sensitivities. So anyway, Archangel Metatron helps us work with people who have differently ordered ways of thinking and just going through life, right? So anyway, honor your sensitivities, work with them, find a way that you can work with them in maybe your job, your profession or whatever you do. Do you already work online?
No, I do not. Part of the excuses that I talked with her about was the fact that I don't have a job yet.
Okay.
So, been a little too laid back. The whole needing to step up and make changes is what I've been dealing with for the past couple of years.
That is fine. The thing is that sometimes we don't always march in step with the way the rest of the world works. And just know that there is nothing wrong with the way that you think and the way you express yourself. You just need to find a place that's going to honor that in a way that's going to honor that. Don't try to fit yourself in somebody else's mold, in other words.
Gotcha.
Okay, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, sister, I'm going to ditch this. It's getting kind of warm. So, sister, Metatron wants you to know that it's okay to help, and it's okay to help your brother, and it's okay to step in, but it's not yours to do it for him. Okay? All right. Let's see, who else do we have, because you're lighting up? I keep seeing something in your back. Are you having back problems? Yeah.
Here.
Yeah, okay. I was feeling like between my shoulder blades. Okay. You carry on everybody else's stuff. It's time to let them carry their own stuff, their own burden. Do you know what I mean by that? Like,
I think so.
Yeah, it's like if anybody's got a problem, you feel like it's your fault.
Maybe so, yeah.
Mm-hmm. If anybody's got a problem, you feel like you've got to fix it. Okay. So it's time to just let others have their lesson. Does that make sense? Yeah, let people have their lesson. Let people have let people sometimes make their own mistakes. It's okay. Sometimes the kindest thing we can say to people is no. And sometimes the kindest thing we can say to people is, that's interesting. I wonder what you're going to do. Rather than, oh my gosh, what can I do? How can I fix it? Right? So sometimes we just need to say, boy, that sucks. What are you going to do about it? Okay. Mother Mary wants you to know you've got this. You're totally fine, and you can be nurturing, but not have to swoop in and do stuff for people. Okay. Good. All right, Janet. There's one of my cousins in the back. All right. You have such a lovely, lovely energy. And are you familiar with Kuan Yin? Okay. Kuan Yin is Mother Mary of the East. And she is also and she's joined by White Tara. White Tara. So first of all, Kuan Yin is Mother Mary of the East. She is a feminine ascended master. And just like Mother Mary, she's about nurturing. She's about wrapping people up in this nurturing energy. And then there's Tara. So Tara has two aspects, White Tara and Green Tara. Green Tara is pretty fierce. White Tara is very nourishing and, very similar to Kuan Yin. And so she's saying that sometimes you feel like, again, you need to do everything for everybody. Am I doing something to the sound?
I don't know. I'm sorry that's happening. I don't know what.
I'm not surprised. When we get all this energy flowing through, weird things happen. So it's the same type of message. Sometimes it's just saying, boy, that's really tough. Let me know if I can help. Rather than, oh, that stinks for you. Let me do this. Right? So sometimes you're just needing to put a little bit of space. Okay. All right. And then back in the corner, Bailey. All right, you've got such a soft spot for animals. Archangel Ariel is coming forward, and she's saying you want to do all the things for all the animals. You can't save them all. But what you can do is work on the environment. I don't know how much of that you do already.
My degree is wildlife conservation.
Of course it is. So she just said, I don't know if everybody heard, Bailey said her degree is in wildlife conservation, right? So of course it is. So it's yours to do to help the environment to make it so that it's more hospitable for all of the wildlife. Hi, this is Christi. I just want to say that we here at Radiate Wellness hope you're enjoying this podcast. It's free to you, and we hope that you find it informative and inspirational. Heck, even fun. We have just 3 small asks of you to help us radiate growth. First, please hit the subscribe button on whatever platform you're listening on. That way, you'll receive a notification every time that we have a new podcast episode out. Next, please give us a thumbs up, a like, or a 5-star review. If you're feeling inspired, a positive review wouldn't hurt. These 2 small things will help others find us when they're searching for great podcasts. Finally, please tell your friends about the Radiate Wellness podcast. Better yet, show them how to find us and how to subscribe. If everyone did that, we would double our audience. Thanks a lot. We really appreciate it. Archangel Ariel, her color is pink, and she, to me, represents love, but her real thing is wildlife. Her real thing is animals, and especially those in the wild. I mean, she'll do our animals we have at home, but her real thing is animals in the wild. She's environment and all that as well. But she's love. Just so maybe switch from not switch, but just like, I don't know, just gently nudge toward environment in what you do already. So just nudging that way, because we need your energy. We need your presence and your commitment for the environment. You are a powerful force of nature, and you can help in so many different ways. All right? So even if it's just organizing a cleanup in the park, but we need you. Okay? All right. All right. Oh. Okay, here with the peacock necklace. You helped me carry my stuff in today, and I am very grateful. But you've got this this quest for knowledge, this search for knowledge. Archangel Uriel is stepping forward, and very much like our friend studying hypnosis, whatever you study, you're going to be just thirsty for more. So don't worry about running out of stuff that you want to learn, because it's always going to be there for you. Your thing is more consciousness. You're more interested in how consciousness actually works, especially like on the different dimensions and the different planes, what happens when we die, what happens to our consciousness. You got it. You got this all. So whatever you want to learn in that realm, ask for Uriel's help. Uriel helps us with esoteric information, but also retaining it. Okay? So just pay attention to what lights up for you next. Like if you finish reading a book, what am I going to read next? Well, one falls off the shelf and then you see it. Or somebody says, hey, have you read Dolores Cannon? No, I haven't, but let me read it. Right? So just keep your eyes and ears open for what's going to come next. All right. Okay, and then back in the corner, you've got a flower shirt. You're the one looking around. Yes, it's you. Yes. So you've got Archangel Azrael. Archangel Azrael and Archangel Jeremiah. Have you lost somebody recently?
Well, I lost my grandmother fairly in May, the end of May.
In May, yeah, okay. All right, so Archangel Jeremiah is the one who takes our soul and helps us cross over. So he also helps us with the life review. So we all hear about, it's like, oh my gosh, I saw my life flash in front of me. I had a bad car wreck, but I saw my life flash in front of me. That's Archangel Jeremiah running the projector. He helps us review our life and see what has gone well, what we could have done better, etc. And then passes us off to Archangel Azrael. Archangel Azrael is the one who helps us get acclimated on the other side, who helps us just kind of come to terms with what happened. Archangel Azrael is also a grief counselor. He helps the ones who are left behind. He helps the ones who are in grief to come to terms. He helps us write obituaries and eulogies and that type of thing, but he also helps us with grief. Grandmother, I would assume, was pretty, maybe up there in years, and good for her. She's 100 years old. Bless her heart. All right. But they want you to know that she passed with some regrets. And she was holding on largely to her regrets, didn't want to let them go. And she's having to do a lot of work on the other side, does not want you to have the same thing happen. So it's not a bad idea to do a life review. In fact, Archangel Jeremiah will show up for us even if we're not dead yet and help us do a life review. It's never a bad idea. We come to a certain fork in the road and then we kind of take stock of what's been going on in our lives. What do we do from this point on? So it's not a bad idea to do this life review, but definitely let go of the regrets. Let go of the regrets. I keep seeing grandma's gallbladder. Does she have gallstones? Had to have it out?
No.
Oh, good. Because she's saying that she held on to all this toxic crap.
That's not that's not surprising.
Mm-hmm. So many times that will show up in third chakra type of stuff, in digestive, especially gall, and spleen and stuff. We hold on to toxic stuff there. Also the liver will hold on to toxicity, but she's talking specifically about regrets. Don't let the sun go down in your regrets. Just appreciate everything for the learning that it has to show you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, actually, it's interesting because just over the past couple of weeks, I've kind of started that.
See? So then you get this crazy angel lady giving you this message, and you know that you're doing what you need to be doing, right? So just see it as a confirmation that you're doing all the things you need to do. Nice. All right. We've got dark green shirt, right? And yes, you. All right. Hearth and home is so important for you. Having a comfortable, safe place where people can gather is very important to you because it's that's your sanctuary. And there was something about growing up, you didn't have quite the safety or quite the happiness that you wanted to have at home, and that you want to create that. Just know that whatever you do with the intention of being safe and happy at home is going to bear a lot of fruit. You don't have to get things perfect at home. Just have the intention. It feels like it's never quite right. It's whatever I do at home, it's not quite right. It needs to be different. It's not. Just set your intention that you feel happy and safe at home, and you will feel happy and safe at home. It sounds so simple, just to set an intention. But intention is really everything. Everything that we see created around us began with an intention. The screen back here started as an idea. It started as somebody wanting to create something, and then it happened. That's a real simple example. But whatever we want to create in our life, we have to have the intention that we can create it. So whatever you're doing in your home, just know that I have the intention it's going to make my home safer, happier, and have more well-being here. And so it is. Okay. All right. And that comes to you from Ascended Master Hesta. So she was the Roman goddess of hearth and home. Sometimes we call her Vesta. So, anyway, so that's nice. All right. We're not doing this tonight, but Grandma says hi. Gray shirt, yes. Right here. We're not doing this tonight, but Grandma says hi. Really, she's been trying to get in touch with you for some time. Do you feel like you see, is there something that reminds you of her? Because she says she's been trying to get your attention. Yeah. Okay. So for my grandma, it's lilacs. For one of my grandmas, it's lilacs. My other grandma, she only comes to me in dreams. But the other grandma is lilacs. But she's just her energy is so subservient almost. It's almost just like a servant to the family.
Other grandma.
Okay, so that's not the first one that came up. So the other grandma. So this grandma is saying that she was almost subservient to the entire family, to her husband, to the children's waiting on people and, putting her own needs back so that she can take care of everybody else. There's just this vibe of being very self-effacing and self-denying. All right, like I said, we're not doing this tonight, but that's just who's showing up for you. All right, you're looking really puzzled.
Well, I am.
Okay.
Just because I didn't have much of a connection really to either of my grandmothers. And it's hard for me.
This is a very common comment. It doesn't matter, right? Because even if we didn't, sometimes we don't even know who's showing up. It's that was my great-grandparents. I never knew them. It doesn't matter because they're still tuned into you. All right. And she's just wanting to let you know that is not a good way to be. Just kind of like with the regrets back here. Okay. Okay.
That I guess.
So that makes sense. All right. Yes. All right. Okay. We've got Archangel Raphael here for you.
Hi.
Archangel Raphael is the one who is healing. Okay, and he wants to talk to you about your own healing journey. Okay? So our healing journey can take place in many different forms. It can be emotional healing, it could be spiritual healing, it can be physical healing. So he's talking to you specifically about physical healing. He wants you to watch diet. He wants you to understand again, with the sensitivities, he wants you to understand what foods you're sensitive to and try to avoid them. Specifically what I'm seeing, and this is kind of hard, but what I'm seeing is dairy is not necessarily your friend.
Oh, but I drink so much milk.
She does.
Yeah, and I feel so terrible all the time, right?
You're always sleepy.
There you go. So dairy, of course, is milk, it's cheese, it's ice cream, it's all the stuff that is really, really good. But
The stuff that I eat.
I know all the stuff that eat. And so we Americans, we have this, what I call it the SAD, the standard American diet. And it's stuff that's really not good for anybody's body, right? So he's saying that be aware of what triggers you in terms of maybe sleepiness, maybe congestion, maybe brain fog, different things like that. Okay, he wants you to really pay attention to what you're putting in your body and knowing how it affects you. All right, so that because you are also needed. You're needing to raise your vibration greatly. You're needing to keep your vibration high. Do we all know what vibration is? Anybody not? Okay. So a couple people. So let me just explain. So everything has an energetic vibration. Everything has an energetic frequency. And the higher our frequency, for humans specifically, the better we feel. Because the higher the frequency, the closer we are to spirit and the closer we are to who we really are as a spiritual being having a physical existence. So when we talk about the hierarchy of archangels and ascended masters and guides, so we hear humans in our soul soup or in our meat suits, I call them. So we're here in our meat suits, and we're vibrating at just kind of like this fairly low frequency. But then once we cross over, we vibrate at a frequency that's much higher, and then this vibration keeps increasing all the way up to God. So each of the hierarchy along the way has a higher and higher vibration. We humans can raise our vibration. Now, how do we know that we're in a low vibration? We tend to feel sluggish, we feel sad, we feel depressed, we feel like not motivated or anything like that. But when we're in a higher vibration, we feel happy, we feel joyful, we feel connected, we feel like we got this, right? So many things can help us with our vibration. Food is one of them. Okay, so seek things that make you feel good. And then you can raise your vibration because we need you. We need you to be happy and highly functioning. Okay? You're giving me this look. This kind of puzzled look.
Does cookies count as dairy?
Just maybe notice how you're feeling after you eat cookies.
Okay.
Notice how you feel. Do you feel sluggish and tired? Do you feel kind of, I just don't want to
I feel like
move?
I'm at an ACD concert.
AC/DC?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, interesting. All right. So anyway, so you're needed to have a higher vibration. In fact, let me just mention a bit about vibration because, we have this kind of a dense meat suit type of vibration. When something gets to a higher frequency, we cannot perceive it. Like, what is that? Infrared. We can't see it with our eyes, but it exists alongside of us, but we just can't perceive it. Okay, so that's what a higher frequency is. It's something that we can't necessarily perceive. So that's why we don't see, usually in our waking times, archangels, ascended masters. I mean, sometimes we do, but these are beings and our loved ones too. Once they stop being physical, once they stop having a meat suit, then they have a higher vibration, a higher frequency that we just can't perceive unless we know what we're looking for. All right, so you're needing to raise your vibration, okay, and pay attention to things that make you feel like you're more sluggish and slower and not as happy because you're very intuitive. Okay, and when you have a higher vibration, a higher frequency, then you'll be more in tune with the other side and to receive more information, right? So this is why, like when we're in deep grief, we've lost somebody, we're in deep grief, and we say, oh my gosh, why isn't mom coming to me? Well, she may be trying to, but we've got such a low vibration, we might not be able to notice it. But when we have a higher vibration, we may be more in tuned. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So the beings that we know as archangels and ascended masters have extremely high vibration. All right. We've got back here glasses, short hair, orange top. Yes, you. Yes, absolutely. Okay. So this is a case where you lit up. Now I got to figure out what the heck your message is. All right. Again, with regrets, you've got to let it go. In fact, you've got this like big neon sign over you. Let it go. Whatever you're holding on to, you need to release it. You need to let it go. This is Archangel Michael who wants to let you know this. I feel like there may be some judgments that you hold on to a little too strongly. Judgments are pernicious things. We can hold them and not realize that we're holding them. All right, so work on, like if you feel like kind of a resentment or just kind of this hard thing against somebody, it's like, all right, is that a judgment? All right, what is my judgment about this situation, about this person, about this book, this whatever it is. So, and it's going to help you out in the long run, because I feel like you may even have some stuff with the kidneys. And okay, what is?
I have some stuff with parts of my body.
Oh, okay, because I feel like
It's
it's
better.
good. Keep working on.
Letting go is a huge thing.
Letting go is a huge thing, right? And now White Buffalo Calf Woman is stepping forward. She is a peacemaker. She was foretold in some of the native prophecies that this white buffalo calf would be born and would have this woman associated with it. And so she's stepping forward and talking about, she's showing me this peace pipe, that you're maybe needing to let go of some of these judgments and build bridges with somebody. Does that make sense? Yeah. That this is going to be very beneficial for you. She's just like saying that this, whatever you're holding on to is kind of a construct. It's like an idea. It's like you're not even holding on to a real thing sometimes. It's the idea, a concept of something that she's like, you carry this stuff around. You don't need to carry it. It's not real. Okay. And
It has to do with live people, not dead people.
she's not saying either way. She's not saying either way. Well, no, actually, she's saying now live people. So needing to build some bridges there and let that S go. Okay. Kind of cleaned it up because of the podcast. But let it go. And a word about letting that S go. Sometimes we need to sit with that S. Let's just say poop. Sometimes we need to sit with that poop. Sometimes we need to heal from that poop. Sometimes we need to listen to it, and then we can let it go. But, you might not be ready to let it go yet, but just work on it. Think about letting it go, and then work on letting it go. Because a lot of it, it's not that it's in your mind, but it's that you've got this idea that's not necessarily completely accurate. Does that make sense? Kind of like we hold on to, it's like, well, so-and-so made me mad because they did this thing. It's like, well, they didn't really do that thing. I just think they did that thing. So anyway, just release, let go, build bridges, peace pipe, kumbaya, all that stuff. All right. Who else do we have here? Okay, who is it? Right here, blue shirt, Duluth Trading Company. Yes. Archangel Raziel. Archangel Raziel works closely with Archangel Uriel in terms of metaphysical understanding. He's got this beautiful rainbow hued color, and all of a sudden this rainbow just like lit up behind you, but like a pride flag lit up behind you. Do you have anybody in your life who, okay, yeah, perfect, awesome. He has spiritual understanding, but he is like making a point of showing me the rainbow colors. So love this rainbow person, right? Let that flag fly. Embrace this person because they've come to do really awesome things and to enrich the community, enrich the family. Is it you?
No, it's my daughter.
Okay.
And I have a nephew, 3 nieces.
Yeah. There's also somebody wanting to transition their bodies. So maybe even somebody's wanting to, not like transition in the croak sense, but like transition, right? but like maybe even wanting to transition their bodies and express as a different gender. There's also some gender fluidity in this circle that you have around you. Gender fluidity is like one day I feel feminine, one day I feel more masculine. Today I want to be she and her, tomorrow I want to be he and him. So just keep your eyes open for some gender fluidity, as well as maybe wanting to, in fact it feels like this is the same person, but even wanting to maybe wear the clothes of a different gender or fix their hair or something of a different gender and maybe adopt a different name. Go with it. Go with the flow. And if you have to have a whiteboard on the wall that says, today I'm feeling, He and him, she and her, circle one, right? And that's okay. Know that that is all part of human evolution. Because right now, you may have heard of this big shift that we're going through, this big ascension that we're moving toward, where Homo sapiens, which means like knowledge man or knowledge person, is going to Homo spiritus, which is like spiritual person, right? So we're moving to Homo spiritus and evolving as a race. And so this evolution, of course, it doesn't happen all at once. It happens little by little by little. And we're evolving to the point where, our gender is more fluid. Like in other places, on other planets, other dimensions, we don't necessarily have genders. And we may be moving to something like that. I don't know. But this is part of the process, just having this gender fluidity and just that I'm a person. I don't have to identify. I don't have to pick one bit to have in my life. So, okay. So go with it. You're the perfect, it's like you've got the perfect understanding for this job, to have these people in your life and to steward this, okay? And be that fierce person that protects them and advocates for them, okay? Because it's important. All right, who else is lighting up? Oh. Okay, we've got Archangel Azrael for you too, here in the black and the gray. All right, so I feel like you're holding on to some grief. I'm feeling like you're holding it on to it. This is going to sound weird, but in your liver. So, work on helping that grief transition. So you can talk to Archangel Azrael. You can say, Azrael, I need help moving my grief. He's talking about grounding. Do you know about grounding? Okay. So there's no way that you can ground too much. All right. So you're needing to do more grounding. And just especially when you've got these big feelings, these big emotions coming up, like go ground, send it down to the earth because the earth can take it. All right, so you're just needing to stay grounded, give all these big feelings, let them go, let that S go. And when we hold on to this stuff in our body, then it can fester and turn into disease. It can turn into discomfort. So I'm feeling it specifically in the liver, but you may feel it, I don't know where you feel it, but you're just needing to release it from the body. We've all probably at least heard of Shrek. He always says, better out than in. So let it be out. You're an energy-friendly person. On the Reiki table, people will sob. They break into tears. They go, "I am so sorry. I don't know why I'm crying." It's like, okay, you don't have to know why. Just let it out. Let it out, because better out than in. All right, so just let the grief flow, and you'll just know that there is no time period for grief. We might think, gosh, it's been 10 years. When am I going to feel better? When am I going to be over this? It takes as long as it takes. And sometimes we even feel like I can't be happy because I'm supposed to be grieving. Right? Or I feel guilty for being happy. It's okay. Your feelings are your feelings. Feel them and let them go through you, and don't hold on to the really dark ones. Okay? All right. Good. I love that smile. It just looks free. I feel like the message is delivered. That's wonderful. All right. Back here, purple. I think you're Becky's daughter. Yes. This is wonderful. Becky, of course, owns the Tranquility Shop in Warrensburg, Missouri. Come and visit Becky at the Tranquility Shop. Fine line of crystals and books. All right, so yes, I feel like you're a student as well, but you've not quite found your way.
That's true.
Yeah, not quite found your way, and that's okay. You're like under 26, right?
Yes.
Because what they're telling me, because I got a whole bunch of them stepping forward, they're like, it's okay, she's good. So you've got this whole group of Ascended Masters around you. They're going, about the age of 26, things are going to start to gel for you. Don't worry about it. There's like, she's got this, she's good, don't worry about it. And so, you know, that can help your mom be off your back about it, right? Of course, you're going to want to make use of your time until then, right? It's not like, I'm just going to sit here and eat bonbons and watch Oprah until I'm 26. No, you know, make good use of your time, but just don't beat yourself up about it. Right? Because that doesn't really do you any good. But just know that everything that you're doing now, everything you're learning now and experiencing now will come together. There's this wonderful novel called The Prayer for Owen Meany. It's by John Irving. Has anybody read it? Oh, it's good, right? Mm-hmm. So all this random stuff happens to this kid, Owen, and you think, how is this even one cohesive novel? It doesn't make any sense because everything is so random. But then at the end, there's this one shining moment. Everything comes together. Everything had its purpose. That's you. So about that age, everything comes together and you're like, oh, that's why I experienced this and that and this and that, because it all comes together. Okay, awesome. So you're gonna be fine. So I'm seeing flowers around you. You might look at Bach flower essences if you've never heard of that. No? Okay. So a lot of the like Wild Oats type of Whole Foods type of shops, kind of the more sprouty type of shops, they'll have Bach flower essences. Oh, you've probably heard of Rescue Remedy? Okay, Rescue Remedy is a blend of Bach flower essences. But anyway, so this is like really good for you because flower essences, essential oils too, really work. A, they work for you. B, you get it, and you have an affinity for it. So the Bach flower essences, they are literally essences of like holly and jasmine and juniper and all these different botanicals, but they work on the emotions. Okay, and Rescue Remedy is a blend that gets us out of stress. Yeah, and then we can even give it to animals. They've got an animal blend of Rescue Remedy, and they've got a kid blend. But anyway, what's coming up for me is these. I just see all these flowers around you, all these different kinds of flowers, and so they're telling me that's Bach flower essences. Could be really good for you as you're trying to figure things out. Not if you want to make a career of it, that's cool because you can get certified, but at least to kind of help you deal with the emotions. I feel like sometimes you hold on to jealousy a little too long. And they've got an essence for that. Okay. All right. Right here with the Bears shirt. The Bears. And I'm just keep getting nursing with you. Raphael's, you're looking at me like, what? What are you talking about? But like doing stuff with like the medical community, is that what you do? Okay, keep your eyes open because I'm just feeling like you're going to be doing that. So, and there's so many things that would be with, I'm kind of getting nursing, so don't rule it out, I guess. But they keep making the speakers click. That's so funny. But anyway, it looks like nursing, but it could be something else allied with, the medical field, X-ray tech, OT, PT, something like that. You just kind of went, oh.
Well, I'm like super pulled towards science right now, like deeply.
Do it.
But also like in a way of like mental health issues. Mm-hmm. So it might be tied to that is the only thing I can think.
Well, keep exploring. In fact, I've got an identity here. Master Hilarion is coming. It's not hilarious. Master Hilarion, and he's the Kohan of the fifth ray, of the seven cosmic rays. The fifth ray is science and technology and learning, and it's like that. This sciencey medical type of thing is really good for you. So even in psychology, maybe it's studying the brain, maybe it's studying behavior, but in a quantitative type of way. Maybe it's studying psych meds, maybe it's something, all of the above. Right? But this is like really good for you. And just like the science thing, the medical thing is like,
Yeah, I'm like getting pulled in that direction really like hard. But also I'm in a place where it feels like when you throw your stones up in the air and you want to see how they land on the ground for you, it feels like I'm in a spot where they're all up in the air still. So it makes sense that you're kind of not on one thing, it's just in this area.
It's in that field. Yeah. They're saying you've got time to figure it out. You haven't, no, in fact, they're saying you haven't quite landed on what it is. It's like you think it could be psychology, and I'm kind of thinking it may be something a little bit broader.
Yeah, I'm getting pieces of everything.
Yeah.
All of that group. I don't know, it's really weird.
You haven't gotten to it yet.
Mm-hmm.
Keep your eyes open, keep your heart open to what feels right. And this is true for everybody, for anybody. We can even, if we're not sure which way we want to go, ask your gut. You know, I do a class called Trusting Your Gut, and I did this one time for a group of business women. And this one woman said, well, but I've got these two things that I can't really, it's like my gut's pulling me in both ways. I said, okay, well, what are the two things? She says, well, I could use a job, I could do this job where I'm using my degree and I'm doing this, or I could do this job that sounds like a lot of fun, but then this other job would be using my degree. I said, well, do you see what you're doing? You are not listening to your gut, you're listening to your head. But listen to your gut and just see what feels right. Feel your way around. So we talk about the clairs. Yours is clairsentience. So clairsentience, yeah, that's the one where you feel it in your body, or you get some sort of, it's like not a thought, it's not a vision, it's not a hearing, it's something in your body. The gut sense, the goosebumps when I'm on the right.
But not my heart chakra, but the
Solar plexus chakra?
yes, everything is there. Like,
There you go.
yeah.
Yeah. So pay attention.
I hear 'em, but I think that's what I'm supposed to focus on more. That's a lot stronger.
The clairsentience, pay attention to how your body feels, like if you get the goosebumps. Because what I'm getting is full body type of feeling too. So it may start in the stomach, but just, you know, see what trips your trigger in the body. Because that's your truth barometer. Yeah, awesome. Very good. All right, who else we got? I'm feeling drawn over here. All right, white shirt with stripes. Okay. There is so much information in past life stuff for you. Okay, so this is Isis stepping forward with Magdalene, and this is going to sound weird as heck, but I actually did a hypnosis session with someone, QHHT session with someone. She was in the mystery school taught by Mary Magdalene under the pyramids, and I know how weird that sounds, but there's so much that we just don't know still. Anyway, I feel like your past life ties are going all the way back to Isis. She's stepping forward and she's kind of claiming you as maybe someone in her votive, in her order, someone who helped take care of like the temple and like served in that capacity. That is so strong for you. Do you feel compelled for like an interest in ancient Egypt and things like that? I know you're kind of looking at me like, you're crazy, lady. But there was so much about belonging, about serving, that just stays with you to this day. And it's like you're trying to recapture that feeling of being part of this thing that's much bigger than yourself. And you've carried it with you ever since then. You know, we talk about life purpose, which we always have a life purpose, but then there's also a soul purpose. And if you guys come on October 1st here in the Tranquility Shop, we're going to be doing a past life regression and a future life. And so sometimes we find that not only just a life purpose, we have a whole soul purpose. And so, it's like the soul purpose for you goes way, way, way back to this time when you felt so connected to a group, connected to something much bigger than yourself that you could participate in and serve, just like almost getting swept away with it. So in this life, it may play out in terms of like being really involved in your church, or being really involved in some sort of group, some sort of sisterhood, maybe even a sorority, but that is important to you for reasons that you might not even understand in this lifetime. Does that make sense?
Not really.
That's okay.
I am a caregiver. I mean but then, and also I was going to say I always had a lot of deja vu. So
Oh, that's cool.
That kind of goes back, not that far back, but there's so many things that happened to me that I feel like they've happened before.
Oh, sure. Oh, I mean, there's really nothing new under the sun. You know, all of Shakespeare's plays, I mean, it's all themes that we explore today. Really, there's nothing new to be discovered at all. But it just feels like community and being part of something that's bigger than yourself is very, very important. And know that that is something that you will always, in this lifetime, be craving and be part of. So even if it's the neighborhood gets together and we, you take a leadership in your neighborhood or something like that, just having the feeling of being plugged into a group that's bigger than yourself, that feels like service, like this big service. Does that make sense? Okay. Right. Okay. All right. And then we've got purple back here. Yes. Purple. Purple t-shirt. Okay. Why are you lighting up? I'm supposed to ask you stuff. What am I supposed to ask you? You've got some sort of drama going on in your life right now. Okay? I don't need to know the details, but somehow I'm supposed to ask you about this. I don't know. I don't feel right about asking you with drama, but just you acknowledge that you got this drama going on in your life. All right. And Ganesh is stepping forward. He wants you. Do you know who Ganesh is?
I've heard the name.
The elephant head guy?
Yes, okay.
Right? The elephant head Hindu guy? Okay, funny story. So Ganesh was with his mom. His dad had left to go on campaign or whatever. His dad was going to go travel somewhere. Anyway, comes back many years later, and Ganesh is with his mom. They're bathing at the river, and here's the mom naked, and here's this, young boy, this young teen, standing there watching, and the dad comes by, and he doesn't know that that's Ganesh, and so he comes up and chopped his head off, and then the mom said, "What did you do? You chopped our son's head off, and go find a head." And for some reason, putting his own head back was not going to work, so he had to, he got an elephant head to put back on. So I don't make this stuff up. And you can't make it up. So Ganesh has the elephant head, but his job is the remover of obstacles. All right, so you've got some obstacles in your way. You're a little too focused on the obstacles. Yeah, there are obstacles, but they're not as big as you think they are, right? You can step over them. They're not huge. You're kind of getting caught up in the drama of these obstacles.
Well, a lot of that, it's just like, I'm not dealing with it, I'm going to back the other way, and it's still
You're avoiding the obstacles.
Exactly, because I'm not done. I'm not doing this drama thing. I'm getting too old for that stuff. And, it's just, but it's like, it's just crazy. It's so silly, but it's gotten so huge, and it's just, I just walk away from it because I just don't want to mess with it anymore.
Ask Ganesh for intervention. Just say, hey, this has become such an obstacle for me. Please remove it. But he keeps saying that it's like a curb, or one of those little block things that in a parking lot. And you've got it up here, and it's not. So just, yeah. And it's interesting because, when we have drama like that, it's usually Pallas Athena comes forward. She was this Greek goddess of wisdom. And she usually comes in and says, detach from drama. But or it's White Buffalo Calf Woman saying you need to let go and make peace. But I'm kind of surprised to see Ganesh, but whatever. But he's just saying the obstacle is a lot bigger in your mind than it really exists because there's so much drama attached to it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right. So, but just ask for some intervention. You might even ask, call Horus in. Horus is the falcon head Egypt guy with the big eye, like the eye of Horus, which is a really potent symbol. I'm sure Becky's got something here at the Tranquility Shop in Warrensburg with the eye of Horus on it. Okay, so Horus, of course, has this falcon head, and he's got this great vision over everything. And he's got as he can see far, and he can see the truth of the matter, et cetera, et cetera. Call him in to help you see from a much expanded viewpoint what the truth of the situation is, and so you could see this obstacle more clearly. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And again, we can call in anybody we want to talk to. We can call in anybody we want to work with. All we have to do is just say, hey, if you know the name, great. Horus, Ganesh, need your help. Help me see this clearly. Help me remove the obstacles. Or we can just say, hey, I need help. Who's going to step forward? And then wait. It's not going to be immediate. And the help can come in many, many different ways. We just have to be open to it. Does that make sense? All right. All right. Radiate Wellness is a community of holistic and alternative healers and consultants based in the Kansas City area, dedicated to helping you create spiritual, energetic, and physical well-being. To learn more about our practitioners, services, classes, and events, or to schedule an appointment, visit us at radiatewellnesscommunity.com.